That is why my children are born in the same year, because he kneed me in my stomach. Him kneeing me in my stomach actually caused an infection. And the grandparents and his family, and I guess their roommate, is chasing us in a car. But I had told my fiance at the time, I said, we're being followed. My youngest son wakes up in the middle of the night screaming and crying. So I run in there to see what's going on. And that's when he opens up about all the abuse that he had been facing in that house at the hands of his grandparents. My sons in the back are yelling like, they have guns, they have guns. So he's speeding backwards. We end up crashing into this lady. The kids keep showing up with like marks or bruises. So I bought security cameras for inside the house because I was working from home. So no, I was not always able to keep my eyes on them 24/7. I don't know any parent that keeps their eyes on their children 24/7, even if they're not working from home.
Pull up on your dog, she gone, I'ma call that girl still. Then she gave me top and I ain't call it girl still. But I'm still
to come on here and give my testimony real quick. My first baby daddy was able to legally kidnap our son for 8 years. If you guys want a more in-depth story time on that, just let me know. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. For future reference, if you're not married, do not put that man on that birth certificate if you live in the state of California, because in the state of California, if you put that man on that birth certificate, neither one of you have rights to that child until you guys go to court and establish rights. So he can get mad, even if your baby is a newborn. He can get mad, run off, and fall off the face of the earth, and there's nothing that you can do about it unless you know his location and you're able to legally serve him. Yeah, just a little word of advice. Don't put that man on that birth certificate. Anyways, so he was able to legally kidnap my son for 8 years. He reached out to me one day out of the blue at 3 a.m., by the way. This is when he knew that I was in a relationship. When I did not answer the phone, obviously because I was sleeping, when I did wake up, I called him back. He wrote me back and said, no, too late. I called you. You didn't answer. I wrote him back. I still have the messages. I wrote him back and I said, you called me at 3 o'clock in the morning. Can we please talk? Like, he used to mentally mess with me. So, eventually he agrees to have a conversation. He agrees to allow me to fly to where he's at so I can meet my son for the first time at 8 years old. So we do that. It was very traumatic. Like I said, if you guys want a more in-depth story time, it was real traumatic. Before I flew out there, I shared my location with like 4 people. We had a system in place. If anything happened to me, or if you didn't hear from me in this amount of time, do this. Like we had a whole system in plan. Because when I tell you this man abused me, it was bad. So I finally meet my son for the first time. And when I don't respond to his request of getting back in a relationship, he decides to try to keep him from me once again. My boyfriend at the time ends up going down there and assisting me with kidnapping my own child back. Yeah. His family chased us down the street in a car, caused a car crash with me and all the kids in the car. All of my kids witnessed that car crash. So I got him for about a year before I'm served with court paperwork that we need to go to court. Mind you, we have 2 sons together. 2. He only wanted to take me to court for 1 because he knew that by hurting our other son, that would mess with me mentally. And by taking baby TY away, again, that would mess with me mentally, right? Okay. So we go to court. I explain to the judge, we have 2 sons together. They're shook. Like, what? You have 2 sons together? I said, yes. I provide the proof of the birth certificate. He starts lying and saying I forged his signature on the birth certificate. Anybody that's ever given birth in the state of California knows there's a witness. So I provided the witness signature receipt, which is someone authorized by the hospital. So I provided that to the court. They said, we understand that there's 2 sons involved. Unfortunately, he's only filing for 1. So what the court agreed on is to separate our sons. So I'm raising 1 and he's raising 1 now. That whole process was like very detrimental to my mental health. When I tell you I ended up in the psych home, all types of stuff. Like, I let myself go. Like, I was down bad, and it was affecting me being able to take care of my other children. Well, one day I just got up. And I gave it to God and I said, I'm not letting this man control me any longer. And I was free. Now listen, so he's had him He's had our oldest son. I have our youngest son. Mind you, they're born in the same year. They're the exact same age. They're only 9 months and some change apart. Over a year now. No communication at all. I woke up to a message this morning of a missed call from him on my social media at 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 in the morning. I start laughing because I told everyone, I told the courts, this has nothing to do with our son. He doesn't actually want our son. He wants to mentally control me. So now that he knows he can no longer control me with our oldest son, now he's back to try to see what else he can do. But it doesn't bother me because what can you do? Oh, you want to file for our other son? Please come get your kid. Please come file for our other son. What? You want to reach out to try to put me on child support? I lost my job. It's literally nothing that you can do to me anymore to break me. Like, I'm free. This man controlled me for over a decade. People that are close to me know, like, they've watched me cry. Like, I used to literally sit outside a window and I convinced myself that talking to the brightest star in the sky was talking to my son. Like that's how down bad I was. Like I used to just, every night, I never missed a night. I would stare up at the star and I would find the brightest star in the sky and I would talk to my oldest son. And this is when he was keeping him away for 8 years and no one would help me. His family was gaslighting me into making me believe that I'm wrong for wanting my child back because their family member's boyfriend hit him. Their family member's boyfriend hit him. And mind you, when we got to court, they denied that girl even being their family, which was crazy because y'all introduced me to her as your cousin. But anyways, that's beside the point. Like I said, if you guys want a more in-depth story time, definitely let me know. I will gladly put the story time out there because it's crazy. But yeah, you guys, I just wanted you guys to know that I'm free. I'm not going to make you guys wait until tonight. So this is the start of the series to my son, how my son was legally kidnapped by his father for 8 years, when I met him for the first time, and how all this even came about. Yeah, so I got all the court paperwork here as well. I'm going to call him Tyrone. So I met Tyrone when I was 16 years old, and I got pregnant at 17 years old. He was 3 years older than me, so I was 16, he was 19. I ended up getting pregnant, of course, and I gave birth to our son 2 months, well, a month and some change before I actually turned 18. I was on probation, so I didn't get off probation until the day I turned 18, maybe like a day or two after I turned 18. Tyrone ended up having to go back to the Bay Area where he's from. I'm from San Diego. So he ended up having to go back to the Bay Area, leaving me and our newborn son here because he had got into some legal trouble. So he went back to the Bay Area, and the plan was for me to follow once I turned 18. So once I turned 18, my stepdad took me to the courthouse to see if they were going to let me on probation. I was going to go regardless because I was so far manipulated. I was gone, y'all. I was gone. I didn't know any better. My stepdad literally looked at me as soon as the courts let me off probation. He looked at me and he said, as soon as you get out there, he's going to start hitting you. I still hopped my silly butt on that Greyhound with my newborn baby. So when we got there, he started hitting me that same night. Didn't waste any time. Like, as I want to tell you guys like more detail without disrespecting this woman, because she is the only one in his family that did not do anything to me, and I love her to death. It's his mama. When I first got there with my newborn baby, there were literally roaches falling from the ceiling. He did not make me aware of any of that, because he knew I wouldn't have came. But anyways, things were already so far gone between me and my mom, it was no way for me to even turn back around and go back. So I'm here. So obviously I was like, I had never seen a roach in person before. So I was like, I'm getting itchy all over again. Okay. Anyways, He felt like that was extremely disrespectful of me to be scared of roaches, so he started beating me up. I know it sounds funny, but yeah, it definitely was not funny at the time when I was going through it. So his grandmother on his mom's side lived down the hill, and then his grandmother on his dad's side lived up the hill. Like, it, seriously, I had never seen it before. But yeah, they all grew up on that street, so that's how that happened. So we went up to his grandmother on his dad's side, up the hill, and she said that we cannot stay there together, that me and the baby can stay there, but Tyrone would have to stay down the hill because we were not married, and she did not believe in that. So he did not agree with that. He did not want me alone at his grandmother's house because I'm such a cheater and da-da-da-da-da-da. We end up sleeping in a car and then going to the welfare office in the morning to apply for those hotel vouchers. We end up doing that. The 14 days run out for the hotel voucher. So we end up back at the mama's house and we end up living in a tent. Like, I have so many pictures on my social media still of the tent in the background, because we were living in a tent inside of the home to avoid the bugs from getting in. It was that bad, yes. So then eventually we end up getting our own place. He's still like, he's cheating on me, he's putting his hands on me. I'm showing the proof to his auntie. We're gonna call her Teresa. They're all T's, so I gotta keep it all T's. We're gonna call her Teresa. So Auntie Teresa, I'm showing her all the proof. She sits him down and she talks to him and she says, she tells him, like, you brought this girl all the way out here for you to be treating her like this and cheating on her. If you're not going to treat her right, send her home. Send her home. I remember that specific conversation that she had with him. He's like, I'm going to be treating her. I'm going to be treating her right, whatever. I walked into the house one day. He left his laptop up. And I saw more of him cheating on me. And I get beat up again. Mind you, I'm pregnant at this time. So one of our mutual friends come down, which is my old best friend's cousin, blood cousin. So he ends up coming down and witnessing what's happening to me. Mind you, his cousin, which is my best friend at the time, she was supposed to be coming down and spending time with me. So he goes back. He ends up leaving early. He was supposed to stay there because he just couldn't bear to see what was being done to me in that home. So he goes back and tells her, you don't want to go out there. You don't want to see her like that. She's blowing on my phone trying to figure out what he meant by that. I'm not telling him. Like, I'm not telling her anything because I was like overly embarrassed. I was too embarrassed. I was not the type of person that goes and like vents to people if I know I'm not leaving, you know? He ends up kneeing me in my stomach, which then sends me to the hospital to give birth to our son early. That is why my children are born in the same year, because he kneed me in my stomach. Him kneeing me in my stomach actually caused an infection. So after I had the baby, that infection created like a sticky paste inside of me, and when my organs were trying to go back into their regular spots, they were pulling on each other because that infection had stuck them together. So I was in excruciating pain. I'm begging him to help me with the baby because I can barely move. He's not trying to help me. He's still verbally abusing me and not trying to help me at all. I end up having to call the ambulance so the ambulance can come and get me because I could not move. When they did the ultrasound, they couldn't see an issue because my organs were pulled back into place, but they were still stuck together. So they couldn't see it. They had to go in my belly button with a camera, and that's how they saw it. And then they fixed it, separated all my organs back to their regular place, and then I was discharged from the hospital like 2 to 3 days later, where he started beating me up again. So there was a church across the street. So I ended up begging him to take us to the church because I just felt like this is my way to get out. So when they called us to come to the altar, I was hoping that he did not come, and he didn't. So when I got to the altar, I whispered in their ear exactly what was going on. So we came up with a plan for me to get me and the boys out of there safely. So one of the members of the church had a nephew who was a police officer, because in California, if any domestic violence is going on, they instantly call CPS, and they're so used to like people going back to their abusers that they're starting to just take y'all kids. So she did not want that to happen to me. So we came up with an entire plan. He had school the next day, so the plan was for me to, once he got to school, pack our bags, because I couldn't pack our bags that night while he was there or he would have suspected something. And honestly, I felt like he was going to kill me. So once he left to school that morning, the plan was for me to pack my bags and leave safely. Well, that morning he asked to take our oldest son to school with him. So that threw the whole plan out of whack. So I'm telling him like, no, I was planning on taking them to the park today. He's like, well, we can take him to the park when I get back home from school. I'm like, yeah, no, but like, I really wanted to take him to the park. And now he's hitting me. Mind you, our 2-week-old son is strapped to me. So the member of the church is outside, parked around the corner, because we already had the time frame planned out. So she's parked around the corner, and her police officer nephew is there as well. Well, when I don't come out, and neither does he at the time, the phone rings. So that was the plan for her to call. And if I don't answer the phone, they're supposed to barge in. So that's what ended up happening. So the phone rang. I tried to run to go and grab the phone, and he snatches it and unplugs it from the wall. And then that's when the police officer comes to the door. Like for part 2, y'all. So this is part 2. Honestly, I thought I was all the way healed, but I'm really having to relive it again in my head is like kind of traumatizing me a little bit. But we're going to keep pushing through this, I guess. Anyways, so they end up coming inside. The officer ends up talking to him about it and telling him like, man, you're not trying to go to jail. Let her leave. Let my auntie take her where she needs to go. I'm going to drop you off at the BART station and you're just going to go to school. So that's what happened. His grandma and his auntie, they start blowing up my phone and, you stabbed my nephew and da-da-da-da-da-da. Not even concerned about the fact that he put his hands on me. I only stabbed him in the hand that he hit me with. But forget all the extra stuff. Their nephew is just so innocent and I'm the problem and da-da-da-da-da. You know how that go. Y'all know how that go. If you know, you know. So anyways, she ends up just saying, I'm going to buy your ticket back home to your mom. So she pays for my ticket to get on the Greyhound back home to my mom. So that's what I do. I go. I guess one of them or somebody ended up calling CPS because CPS was at my mom's house not even 2 days later. You know, he's blowing up my phone still, asking to see his sons. And I just felt like no matter what he did to me, you can still see your sons. Like, I don't know. I was young and dumb, y'all. That's the best way that I could describe it. The CPS worker kept telling me, no, don't let him see the boys. But I didn't listen. My mom kept saying, no, don't let him see the boys. But I didn't listen. Like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm a new mom. I have absolutely no guidance. I have 2 sons under the age of 1 in diapers. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't have any help. It's just me. So his cousin, we're going to call her Ray. So his cousin Ray ends up moving to Phoenix, Arizona, where she invites me to come with her and her boyfriend and their kids. And she is offering to help babysit so I can get my first job and be able to provide for my children. Well, when I get there, I'm not going to put her business out there, but it was wild. Okay. That, to say the least, it was wild. I come home from work one day and my son has bruises on his back. They're fighting. They start fist fighting. Her sister jumps in and starts I have her on TikTok. So she jumps in, she starts fist fighting. I'm just consoling my son because I'm just scary. That's what it was. I'm scary. I know what the hell was going on. I'm like, I call the dad and I'm telling him what's going on. And I'm like, her boyfriend is hitting on baby TY, like, while I was at work. The police end up coming over there and telling me that I need to get out of there because they are bringing Child Protective Services to the house in the morning. So I call my mom. She says that she's going to see what she can do. And then now I have no choice but to call the dad because we need to get up out of there. So I call the father. He says he'll be out there the next day. Well, while he's on his way, because he's driving from San Francisco to Phoenix, Arizona. So while he's on his way, my mom finally calls and says that she's on her way. So I'm like, okay, I think it would be easier for me to have one child versus two children. So I let him decide which child he wants to take, and he decides to take our oldest. The plan was for him to have him for 2 months. The post is still up on my first Instagram that he was only supposed to have him for 2 months and then bring him back. He took my baby. We're staying in communication. We're talking every day on the phone. We're pretty much co-parenting. If I need anything for our youngest son, he sends it. He doesn't ask me for anything for our older son. But like I said, we're talking on the phone the entire 2 months. I get into a relationship, and the minute we go public on social media is when I'm now blocked and I'm not allowed to talk to my son anymore. I call the police and report him as a missing child. That's when they let me know that this is considered a legal kidnapping because he's on the birth certificate. He changed his number. I'm reaching out to his family. I'm trying to, do everything that I possibly can. Nobody wants to give me his location. I go to the courts. They tell me that without an address, the motion won't be valid because he has to be served and an officer has to serve him because of our domestic violence past. So I'm pretty much reaching out to everyone, begging. Months go by, nothing. Now it's around Christmas time. All I ask for Christmas is to be able to talk to my son. So I guess his family gets a hold of him, allows him to call me so I can talk to my son on Christmas. I talked to my son on Christmas for about 10 minutes before he hangs up on me. I didn't hear from my son again until his birthday. His dad calls me on his second birthday and allows me to talk to him for 2 minutes. And then he hangs up on me. He called from a private number, by the way, so there was no way for me to even be able to call the number back. But he allowed me to talk to my son for 2 minutes on his second birthday. Nothing after that. After that, it's just me constantly trying to, make people feel so bad for me that they will do things against their job title. Like this one officer that I was speaking to, she was not supposed to pull up an address, but she pulled up an address for his mother's house. It ended up being his mother's house. So she pulled up an address and she agreed to send an officer over there to do a welfare check on my son. And that they were going to get back to me and tell me if he was there so I could bring that address to the courts. Well, when the officer got there, it was the mom's house. He had absolutely nothing in his name. Everything was linked back to his mother's house where he did not reside. So it was literally, there was nothing that I could do. I had no address. His family was not trying to help me. No private investigator could find him. I hired 2 different ones. None of them could find him, but they were so nice. They gave me my money back because they just felt bad for me. And since they couldn't do anything for me, they gave me my money back. All right, part 3 is going to be how he contacted me years later and allowed me to meet my son for the first time in 8 years. So my son's getting older now. Now, remember I told you guys, we have 2 sons together. We have 2. He took 1. So my son that I have is getting older. He's starting to have behavioral issues. I'm reaching out to his auntie Teresa and I'm like, hey, he really needs a male figure in his life. Like, can you please ask his father to, be in his life? Like, I don't know what to do. Keep the boys together. I'm even willing to give him to his father if you can just keep the boys together, and he needs a male figure in his life. She's like, no, because he's saying that that's not his son. So first time that I'm hearing that he's denying my son. So I'm like, what the heck do you mean? Like, what do you mean that he's denying him? He's like, yeah. I said, okay, well, what about the grandpa? Can the grandpa be in his life? She's like, no, he won't do it without the DNA test. I said, okay, well, you guys take the DNA test then. You guys can do a grandparent DNA test. She's like, no, he's not going to do it because he doesn't want to get involved. He doesn't want to go against Tyrone. And I said, well, this is his family. Like, what? You named him. Auntie Teresa, you named him. Like, what do you mean? I was so mad, y'all. I was so mad. I was so hurt. I just could not. You know, I reach out every now and again to ask them for help, not financially. I've never asked them for help financially. I'm asking them to let one of these men get involved in this little boy's life because I cannot raise no man. I'm a woman. I can't raise no man. That's a man's job. Help me. You feel me? So finally, years later, he decides to reach out once he sees that I'm single. As bad as I want to cuss him out and go off and scream and yell, I keep my composure because he's in control and he knows it. If I get one attitude or a sense of any attitude, that's it. There goes my chance of seeing my son. And he makes sure that I'm very much aware of that he's in control. So I'm being extra nice. I'm following all of his directions. I'm doing everything that he asked me to do so I can be able to see my son again. So he ends up allowing me to fly to where he's at so I can meet my son for the first time and he can meet our other son. Before I left, I shared my location with my friend Shawan. I shared my location with my baby mama Damaris. They don't care if I say their names. Shared my location with my sister. I shared my location with a few people. We put a plan into place. If I do not answer my phone every single hour, I am supposed to answer my phone. If I do not answer, they're supposed to give the police all the information that I provided to them. Well, my phone ends up dying on the bus. So I'm actually panicking because I know that they're going to reach out to me. And if they can't get a hold of me, they're going to go crazy. And now the police are going to show up. He's going to get spooked. And he's going to run off with my son again. And I'm never going to see him again. So that's everything that was going through my head at that moment. Like, oh my God, the police are going to show up. He's going to think I'm setting him up. Like, I don't know what to do. So we finally make it to the hotel room that he has set up, and I plug my phone in and I let everybody know I'm okay. They're all calling like, are you good? Are you good? Are you good? Like my phone's ding, 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 ding as soon as I turn it on. I let everybody know I'm good. I FaceTime them like, yeah, I'm good. You know, it's cool. When I get there, he brings up the DNA test and says he wants to do a DNA test for our other son. I agree. I don't have anything to hide. So he leaves to go and get the DNA test. He comes back. We do the DNA test, and we have his Auntie Teresa pick up the DNA test so she can take it to the post office and mail it off herself. That way, can't nobody say I did anything to the DNA test. Can't nobody say I altered it or any of the sort. While I'm there in the hotel room, like, he ends up trying to, like, cuddle and lay down, and I am scared. Like, I'm trying so hard not to throw up because I'm so disgusted. Like, he wants to cuddle, like he's trying to sleep with me, and I'm making every excuse in the book. I just felt like if I don't do what he says, he's gonna take my son away again. So I'm trying my best without actually having to sleep with him. Thank God my period came right on time. My period literally came right on time. My period is never late and it's never early. My period came an entire week early, and I knew that was God. So my period comes, and that's now my excuse to not sleep with him, but I'm still allowing him to cuddle with me. Like, ugh, I'm getting so disgusted. That's him and the boys laying down together in the bed. That's them. So I leave and go back home, and he texts me this the next day. Well, this is us at the airport when we leave. My son was so sad. He was crying. He did not want me to get on that plane without him, and I felt like, damn, I'm leaving him again. That's how I felt. Well, the next day, he decides to text me this. Y'all can pause and screenshot it, and y'all can read it on your time. But these are all the messages that he sends me the very next day. All of this was provided to the courts as well. Like, look at how sick he is. Oops. Like I said, screenshot it, pause it, and read it. He sends me like a freaking 4-page letter. Sorry, I'm like shaking because I'm getting like traumatized all over again. So that's what he sends me the very next day. I'm playing into it until he trusts me enough to where I can get an actual address and be able to serve him. The reason I didn't serve him, well, the reason I wasn't able to serve him when I flew out there was because he contacted me on a weekend. And I was out there that would, like, it was no way for me to go to a court, file the paper, get the motion, all in time to do that. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing. He's very smart. I'll give him that. He's extremely smart. Anyways, weeks later, the DNA test ends up coming back. Of course, the auntie had the login, so she contacts me too. And she's like, yep, turns out he is ours, like you've been saying. Oh, she's like, Jasmine, don't start making your post and going all crazy like, ha, I told you, because you know how you are. Like, first of all, and I told y'all. She's like, I know, you did, you told us. I only have my baby in the car. None of the other kids are in the car with me. They're actually with my sister. So yeah, I'm gonna go handle him, and then I'll be back with part 4 of how they started treating our second son ever since the DNA test results came out. All right, y'all, so this is part 4. The kids are actually in the backyard playing, so I do have a little time by myself to hurry up and get this story out to you guys. Well, at least part 4. Like I said, I'm trying to squeeze 8 years worth of nonsense, but we're almost done. I'm never ever gonna tell a story that only makes me look good. I'm obviously gonna always tell my faults in the story like I have been. So yeah. So after the DNA test results come out, his dad, which is Tyrone's dad, which is the grandfather, has his forever girlfriend reach out to me and basically say they want to be involved in Titan's life. Tyrone has been ignoring me and fell off the face of the earth and isn't letting me talk to my son anymore. But when she reaches out, she basically says Tyrone is agreeing to give them baby TY, which is our oldest son, and if they can take Titan for the school year and allow them to be brothers. So I agree. You know, at this point, like, I'm plotting, like, okay, yeah, I know where my son is at. You know, we could do this. You know, I end up lying to them and telling them that I have full custody of Titan just in case they try to do anything sneaky, like y'all finna go to jail. So they come out to where I was staying at in Vegas with my homegirl, and they're talking mad crap about Tyrone. Yeah, when we got him, he didn't know anything. Like, he wasn't smart. Like, they're talking so bad. Like, yeah, he was a terrible father and da-da-da-da-da. So I'm like side-eyeing them, but I'm still like, okay, whatever. And they're like, yeah, so we'll be out here in the next week or 2 to pick up Titan, and we'll take him out there and they can be brothers, and then you can communicate with us and speak to your son. I'm like, okay, so I agree to it. They give me their address. I'm like, okay. So they come, they pick him up. I send an email basically giving her temporary custody, so that way, you know, she can sign him up for school, etc., because I'm not going to that state with them. So my youngest son gets there first, Titan. He gets there first, and then baby TY comes after. Well, when baby TY gets there, they end up calling me saying that he sent my son there with nothing. Like, the clothes are like ripped up, baggy, like he can't fit them, shoes are bad. So I go on almost $1,000 shopping spree, send my son all brand new Nikes, the both of them. I never got one thing without the other. A whole new wardrobe of clothes, motorcycles. Like, I went all out, y'all. I missed 8 years of my son's life. I went all out. New game system, hoverboards. Like, I'm not trying to say I'm trying to buy his love, but he's 8 now, you know? Like, he's 8. Let me do everything for him. So he's out there and I'm able to talk to them, but I'm noticing that every single time I'm talking to my sons, the grandparents are standing right behind them. Like, there was never a moment where they were able to talk to me by themselves. So the school year is ending, and now I'm about to drive down there to get what I thought I was getting, the boys. I've been reaching out to Tyrone online, asking him, like, hey, what if I let you get both the boys first and then I get both the boys next, just so you can trust that I'm not on anything funny, because I'm really trying here. Like, I will let you get them first and then we can swap. Or you get them for the school year and I get them for summer. He keeps saying, I'll think about it. This is months before actual summer gets there. So summer's here and now it's time for me to pick them up. I'm like, Tyrone is not answering me at all. So I'm reaching out to the grandparents like, hey, like, can I get them? Like, they wouldn't even allow me to come down there for my youngest son's birthday. He wanted to go to Legoland. They were like, well, if you come down here, of course you can take Titan, but you can't take baby TY to Legoland for his birthday. I said, well, can you guys come? Because my son really wants to go to Legoland. They're like, no, we can't go. I'm like, wow. It's like, it was just a mess. So anyway, summer's there. So I drive down there with my fiance at the time. So we get there and they're like, we're trying to get a hold of him. He's not answering, so it doesn't look like you can take Tyler. Well, baby TY. They're like, it doesn't look like you can take baby TY. His real name is Tyler the Third. I just gave you guys some information without giving you information. My son's name is Tyler the Third, the one Tyrone kidnapped, legally kidnapped. So they're playing. So right at this point, I'm looking at my fiance at the time, and I'm just like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to walk up to that front door and take my youngest son back in front of the other one. I'm not doing that. It's no way I'm doing that. So I went to the CPS office first to see what they can do. It wasn't anything that they could do. I went to the police station. It ended up being in the wrong district or whatever, so then I had to go to the correct one. And they pretty much tell me a plan, like, we can help you, but this is what you have to do. So I'm like, okay. So they pretty much told me that I have to go to the house. I have to make sure that Tyrone is not there. I have to have proof of the birth certificate that I am the mother, and they have to be able to identify me as the mother, and I have to have room in my car for them. I said, okay. So we pull up to the house, and I call the police and tell the police that I'm here. The police pull up. They go into the house and they retrieve both the boys and they bring them out to me, and they're yelling, his family, they're yelling. They're like, no, 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 you're not taking them. No, no. The police asked my son, my oldest one, baby TY, like, do you want to go with your mom? And he's like, yes, I want to go with my mom. So the police give me my baby. The police give me my baby, and I just was like, so they make sure that the car is big enough for all of them to be in the car. I made sure that I got a car big enough for all of them. That was my plan. I had his dogs in the back. My son asked me for a dog. I went and I got it. I went and I got the dogs for him. I'm so sorry. I went and I got the dogs for him, and then the police told us that we can leave. The police left, we left. Next thing I know, we get to like the third light, and the grandparents and his family, and I guess their roommate, is chasing us in a car. But I had told my fiance at the time, I said, we're being followed.
He's like, no, we're not. No, we're not. I said, yes, we're being followed. I said, watch, turn this corner. So he turns the corner. The cars follow. Next thing you know, we're cut off in the front. So my fiance at the time is trying to back out. My sons in the back are yelling like, they have guns. They have guns. So he's speeding backwards. We end up crashing into this lady who had nothing to do with anything. Everybody... My fiance at the time, he gets out the car. All the guys get out the car. I had to go calm down, y'all. I'm going to get back with part 5 so y'all can know how all that ended. I'm having my dinner in the car. I do not like talking about this stuff around the kids. Anyways, I noticed that we're being followed. So I'm telling him, my fiance at the time, we're being followed. He's like, no, we're not. I'm like, turn here. He turns. Both the cars are still following us. I'm like, make another turn. Basically, we about to go in a square. Hold on. Yeah. So basically, my intentions are to go in a square. So I'm like, turn. Car follows. I'm like, make another turn. The car follows. Now, when we make that turn, that's when we notice that they notice that we know we're being followed. So they get on the phone. So we go boom, boom. And right when we're making that last boom, we get cut off. So we got a car on the side of us now because he done pulled up. We're blocked off right here. So we have no choice but to go backwards. So he starts flying backwards because my sons are in the back yelling that their grandfather has guns. So we're flying backwards, crash into this innocent lady that didn't have anything to do with anything. I'm on the phone with the police. I'm hysterical, clearly. So I'm like, oh my God, like, telling them everything that's going on, telling them where we're at. So my fiance at the time, he's so angry. He don't care that they got guns. He just getting out the car ready to fight them. So he get out. They get out. He's sitting there like, what's up? Like, this my family now. Like, what's up? What's up? Like, he's really saying that to them. They got their hands in their pants, you know, when you got a gun. So they got their hands like that. And he like, I don't care about you, about that gun. I'm like, stop. Like, the police are on the way. Let me just put that out there. They're all from the streets. So when the police arrive, I'm ready to tell it all. They sitting there acting like none of this just happened. They tell me, yeah, we don't know. Like, you know, they got in a little car accident. They looking at me like, ma'am, what happened? I'm like, I'm from the streets. F y'all. I start telling them what happened. Like, what the? Excuse me? No, you didn't. What? I'm not from the streets. Ain't no street code. This is what happened. So basically, it's like 3 people's words versus mine. We crashed into that lady. So of course we got the ticket. But everything else was under investigation. I done told them, you need to pull the security footage from the Walgreens right there and from that gas station right there. If you're from San Diego, the situation happened on Massachusetts and that road that the Lemon is on. Right there by the Walgreens and that gas station that's right there. That's where the situation happened at. So I'm telling the officers, like, yeah, y'all need to pull that footage because I don't know what they're talking about. He's like, okay, it'll be under investigation, but for now, you know, you guys are the ones getting a ticket. For one, we didn't have insurance and we crashed into the lady. So yeah, we got a ticket for being in a wreck without insurance. That's what the ticket was for. So anyways, everybody leaves. We drive off. Now the grandfather is pulling up again. So my fiance at the time rolled down the window and I'm yelling like, get away from us. Like, get away. He's like, just let me talk to you. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Just let me talk to you. I said, no, I'm done talking to y'all. I'm done talking to y'all. I said, it's funny how when I've been begging this entire time for y'all to get a hold of Tyler, y'all couldn't get a hold of him. Now all of a sudden y'all able to get a hold of him because he blowing up my inbox. Like, get out of here. Y'all fake. Man, I don't have time. We pull up to my fiance at the time, his mom's house, which is in LA. So we drive from San Diego to LA and we go spend a night over there. His auntie Teresa, remember I told y'all about her, she ends up calling my phone and she's like, "You're wrong, Jasmine, you're wrong." I'm like, "How the hell am I wrong?" She's like, "My brother," talking about the grandfather, "my brother opened up his home to your sons and been allowing you to talk to your son, and this is how you treat them." I said, listen to what you're saying. Allowing me to speak to my son, a son that I gave birth to, a son that I carried. I'm supposed to be grateful that you guys are allowing me to do that. I said, take out of the equation that you're related to Tyrone at the moment. And think about it as if you were me and all of this was happening to you. After everything you've been through, after everybody knows about all the abuse that he did, and everybody knows that he was cheating on me and beating on me, and now he kidnapped my son, if you were me, how would you react? She hung up in my face. Exactly. We get to my fiance's mom's house, and I notice when I'm pulling out the suitcase that my son brought out, my youngest son brought out, they only came with one suitcase in a plastic bag. So when I pull it out and I'm going through it, it's like 5 outfits of the clothes that I originally sent him there for the beginning of the school year. So you know he can't fit them no more. But like I said, I didn't send them a whole new wardrobe, $1,000 a piece. I sent them a whole new wardrobe. They sent them back with absolutely nothing that I gave to them. Nothing. Not the game system, not the motorcycles, not the hoverboards, not any clothing, underwear, socks. They sent them with nothing. People that I have on my Facebook have been following this story for the last 8 years at this time. So they've been cheering me on. Once I got the boys back, I posted it. When the police arrived, I posted it. So everybody was cheering me on. Well, once I noticed that, I break down crying because I just spent my last coming out here. I don't have it. So I reached out to all of them, and everybody pitches in and helps me get my babies clothing and shoes that they didn't have. And I was so appreciative of that. So when we make it back to the house, my youngest son wakes up in the middle of the night screaming and crying. So I run in there to see what's going on. And that's when he opens up about all the abuse that he had been facing in that house at the hands of his grandparents. Yeah. I'll start getting more into that at the next part.
Don't be afraid to let go when you know that you need better. People only take your love for granted when you...
All right, so after my son pretty much tells me about everything that he had went through, this is at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I have a witness while they over there trying to claim that I was coercing my kids. Why the F would I ever make my children say that they were abused? What sick mother, never mind. I'm not going to say what sick mother would do that, but I don't want to hear that. I don't like feeling helpless when it comes to my children. So I immediately call CPS. So I reach out to CPS because I'm like, okay, you know what? No matter what happens, let me make sure that y'all never go back there. So I wait for baby TY to wake up so I can ask him too. So while me and my fiance at the time are talking to Titan, I'm like, you know what? All the times I talked to you on the phone, like, why didn't you say anything? I would have came to get you. And then I started to feel bad because I felt like I was blaming him. So I took it back and I just hugged him and I apologized. And he was like, I was scared. I never had a moment to tell you. And that's when I thought back. Every time they called me, the grandfather was standing directly behind them, like hovering over them. Every phone call. They were out there for almost a year. Sick bastards. Anyways, so I get a hold of CPS and they pretty much say California I'm in Texas. So they say California CPS has to handle it because that's where it was. That's where it happened at. So I call California CPS and I make the report. When baby TY finally wakes up, I start talking to him and he confirms the story. So he confirms the same story that Titan is telling, except he starts adding in that he was being bullied by his uncles, which are his grandfather's kids. So he's like, yeah, everything that you would send me, they would break it. They wouldn't let us get a turn on the game systems. Like, they're just telling me a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm reporting this. When I take them up to the courts in Texas and I'm explaining the story, they're like, we can't do anything because they're not residences of Texas yet. You guys have to be here for 6 months. So I was in the process of buying a home while they were out there. So when they came back, we were continuing the home buying process. Well, because the grandparents had the address to the home that we were going to move to, I explained that to the realtor. But thankfully, I'm telling y'all, God really be working on my side. So I had put in $5,000 of earnest money already. So after explaining the story, you know, my realtor was pretty much like, the seller is not going to, you know, care because, you know, you already put the earnest money down. They already stopped taking applicants. Like, the home is under contract. You guys are about to close. And I'm going to post those screenshots from my email as well, because I still have all of them. Thank God that the realtor ended up getting back to me and saying that the home couldn't be insured. I'm not going to say why the house couldn't be insured because it really doesn't. It's irrelevant to this story. So we didn't end up getting that home. So we start to notice that there is a white F-150 truck parked outside of our door of our current residence randomly. And he'll just sit there and watch, type down on his computer and look up and watch. We have been noticing that for 2 days. So we go to the laundromat and that white truck comes. Well, my fiance at the time, he's like, that's either a private investigator or like somebody with the law. So he's like, they're very obvious. Like, they drive those big trucks and they have a certain look and demeanor to them. So I'm watching him and he's just watching us. We're washing laundry. He's sitting outside the laundromat. We walk into this pizza place intentionally. He walks in like 5 minutes later. We moved within 24 hours. When I tell you we were out of there within 24 hours, we were out of there within 24 hours. That's how we ended up leaving Arlington and moved to Houston. Now I'm starting to see, like, you know, behavioral issues. And my oldest son is like beating up the other kids, and I had to take Titan to the hospital on multiple occasions. And I'm sitting down and I'm talking to him and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, why are you hitting your siblings? Like, these are your siblings. And he's like, well, because I was being bullied at my dad's house, so now it's my turn to be a bully. That's exactly what he told me. Explained to him that we don't do that here. There's no bullying. Like, we love here. Like, you guys can argue, you guys are brother and sister, but you're their big brother. Like, you're the oldest one. Like, you're supposed to protect them. So I'm explaining that to him. So I'm thinking everything is good. I end up getting served with court paperwork because I answered my front door. I was on FaceTime with this boy named Mon. This is after me and my fiance at the time done broke up. I ended up finding out that he liked men. I already put that story time up. Yo, I really been through a lot, okay? But we're not gonna focus this on that. So I'm on FaceTime with this boy named Mon. Not dating or anything. Like, he's really a cool friend. Like, I have him on TikTok. I'm gonna tag him in this video. So I'm on FaceTime with him, and there's like a hard knock on the door, as if it is the police. But like I said, y'all, I'm not from the street, so I don't really know what to listen to. He's like, don't answer that door, Jazz. Don't answer that door. I'm like, I'm gonna answer the door? Like, so once I answer the door, I get served with court paperwork. It hasn't been the 6 months yet, so I wasn't able to file first. He did. So They serve me with the court paperwork, and then after that, CPS starts showing up to my door back to back to back because they got confirmation that they were able to serve me. So now he knows my address. So now he needs to keep sending CPS to my house in order to build his case. The kids keep showing up with like marks or bruises. So I bought security cameras for inside the house because I was working from home. So no, I was not always able to keep my eyes on them 24/7. I don't know any parent that keeps their eyes on their children 24/7, even if they're not working from home. So I bought cameras so I can at least do my best. He kept breaking the cameras. Kept breaking the laptop that controls the cameras. My poor baby. I don't know. I started looking into therapy and everything. Like, I don't.
Okay, a couple of things that I disagree with her about. I'm sorry she went through this, but it's a couple of things that I do disagree with her about. And number one is, I do feel like a woman can raise a man. But she got to be a strong woman, right? My mom raised me. I did have a stepfather in the house, but my stepfather really just like went to work, came home, went to sleep, went to work. Like, he just provided for the family, right? My mom has been a housewife. My little brother is 23 right now. So it's been 23 plus years that my mom has not worked a job. I did see my stepfather was there, but he worked a lot to take care of his family. You know what I mean? It was literally a go home, go to work type thing. So my mom raised us. My stepdad never disciplined me, nothing. You know what I mean? My mom did everything. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my stepfather. I'm so grateful. I never disrespect that man, right? But I do feel that, man, a woman raised me. It was a strong woman, though. It wasn't one of those women where, you know, her cycle come on, she start acting different or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It was never that. My mama was always firm, strong, bro. Like, a really strong woman. You know what I mean? Like, for real. And that's who raised me. Now, do I think I lack some things from a man? You know what I'm saying? As far as from being raised by a man, yeah, I do think I lack probably certain things, but I came out just fine. You know what I mean? I wasn't in the streets. My mom disciplined me, you feel me? I got my ass beat, you feel me? She stayed on me about my work. My mom was a great mom, you know what I mean? And she raised a fine young man. I'm a very fine young man, you feel me? So I disagree with her on that aspect. Like, I just think, cause I heard her say in another video that you know, she didn't even really want kids. She was young, man. You know what I mean? She was young. What's up with y'all in condoms, ladies? What's up with y'all in condoms? I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story about me and condoms. Like, I grew up with my stepdad in the house, and my stepdad had 4 children by 2 different women, so 2 and 2, right? And they both put him on child support, and child support was a big thing in my house, bro. Like, big. It was talked about a lot. So that just made me realize. I say, boom, okay, if I have a baby and it was a strain on our family. You know what I'm saying? It was I can't wait until I'm able to get this child support let up off me. I can start keeping some money around here. It was hard, bro. You feel me? I grew up hearing this. So, like, condoms is a big thing. I lived with a girl 10 years. She never got pregnant because I wore condoms. You know what I'm saying? I was with her 10 years. I lived with her for maybe 3. You feel me? As soon as we break up, guess what? She didn't have a baby. You see what I'm saying? Y'all don't be using condoms, bro. You feel me? So, but she was young. She just, come on, y'all gotta be using condoms. Everybody around here having unprotected sex is crazy. But back to the story. I mean, her family is just retarded. Her family is sick. Her family crazy because ain't no way. That's that girl. That's that boy mom. Let the lady have her freaking child. You feel me? Let her have her baby. And it's crazy, the court situation stuff she was talking about. That's crazy too. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a lot going on. I don't really know too much about that court situation, but I did think and thought that it always favored the mom. You know what I'm saying? So by me hearing these things, it's kind of crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? That I'm hearing these things because, like I say, I thought that the mom is the one who, you feel me? So that was crazy to me. And I will say this, she kept trying to be with the man though. Like, you feel me? She was young though, but y'all be following up after them dudes, man. They be following after them dudes, and she could have been got away, dude, beating her. This is just a crazy story, bro. I'm surprised the court couldn't get involved and help this lady out and get her baby. Like, you feel me? And then by the child, this is what he's growing up. This is happening to him. They beating on him. Now he beating on other kids at school. It's just all crazy, man. And it make you realize, like, it really starts in the home on your children and their behavior and stuff. I was a good mannered child. You feel me? Like, my mama did not fucking play. You feel me? So, and shout out to her boyfriend. I guess the one that she found out she was gay. She found out that he was gay. Shout out to him, cause shit, at least he was trying to help the girl out. You know what I'm saying? So, y'all let me know. This part 1. I got part 2 for y'all coming up, but this video is getting very, very long. I appreciate y'all. We'll be dropping part 2 later on today. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Shout out to the whole Hustle Nation. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. It's your boy Ray, Big Play Ray, man.